BYU basketball tonight, or not tonight, tomorrow morning, I should say. Yeah, 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 12:30 not Pacific, Central Time, out there in what they call the Little Apple. Manhattan, Kansas kicks off a 3-month gauntlet that is going to tell us everything it feels like we need to know about the BYU basketball program. They come out of it ranked in the top 10 in the country, speaking of the non-conference schedule, but now it gets real. BYU opens Big 12 play, and most people out there, I think, will agree with this. I know Robbie McCombs wrote about it. Our good friend Cougar Stats, I think, also put a thing out about this. These first 4 games for BYU are what they call the easiest stretch of the Big 12 season for BYU. But if you go by the metrics out there, the chances of BYU running the table to 4-0, just a mere 55.4%. Yeah, the weakest portion of BYU schedule is, give or take, a 50-50 proposition that they run at 4-0. That kind of shows you the depth and breadth of the talent that the Big 12 boasts this year in basketball. And Utah's going to be a relative layup, speaking of BYU and their arch rival, because they do face Utah a week from tomorrow up in the Huntsman Center, and then it's like 2 weeks later, they have the rematch in Provo. But beyond that, you have ranked teams up and down this roster, speaking of the roster, the schedule for BYU, and it kicks off with Kansas State. Now, Kansas State, they're not all that highly rated in terms of KenPom ratings and the like, but what they are is an offensive machine. And that is going to make, I think, for a pretty entertaining Big 12 opener. And I hope that BYU is equal to the task, because this could be a game that BYU finds themselves in that track meet type of a contest where it's just end-to-end action. One team's running on the other one, and one team's shooting the cover off the ball, and that's how this could go down. You look at how Kansas State has gone this year. It's kind of funny. They've had a season of runs. They opened the season with 5 straight wins, then lost 4 straight games, including a loss to Indiana in that mix. And then since then, in their non-conference slate, they've won 4 straight, including a win at Creighton. Now, Creighton's not what it once was this year, but that is still a pretty solid win to go to Creighton and win that game. But in the last 4 games, they have scored 108, 83, 106, and 94 points. And if you go back to the rest of the season, they score points in bunches, speaking of Kansas State. And that should make for, I think, a pretty entertaining affair as BYU and Kansas State tussle in this game. We talked to Kevin Young yesterday, and he was pretty blunt about, hey, everything that we saw in film last year from Kansas State, just with the way that college basketball in particular is a waste of our time to look at that and try and get a feel for this. It's a brand new year. It's a brand new roster in many respects for Kansas State. And the nice part is you've got 13 games on film now to watch. They're 9-4, speaking of Kansas State, and it's going to make for an interesting dynamic to see how BYU slows down the likes of PJ Haggerty. If you have not seen PJ Haggerty play, he's averaging 22.9 points per game. He has been one of the more electric scorers in all of college basketball, and especially in the Big 12. And they also have, it's 4 other players averaging double-digit points. David Castillo at 13.3, Abdi Bashir Jr. at 12.8, Nate Johnson at 12.4, and Kamari McGriff at 10.1 points per game. This team, speaking of Kansas State, they run and gun with the best of them. And that's going to be the interesting part. And the more I think about this, what does Will Voigt have cooked up here? Does BYU play more of that press style that they have been running kind of the latter half of their non-conference slate, where they want to force turnovers in the backcourt? Can you speed up Kansas State? And does it actually work counterintuitively? Because they like to play fast, speaking of the Wildcats, but can you speed them up to the point where they're forcing bad passes and you're catching it and off to the races yourself and going the other way? It's kind of I think, got to be the thought process with this team. I know that Kevin Young will have something schemed up. He always does. He's an incredible tactician when it comes to preparing his team and his guys. Speaking of BYU, they are well prepared, and I don't struggle to, but I don't worry about BYU when it comes to games like this, because I trust they will have a game plan. But the question is, how well can you execute it? And in particular, with this being BYU, by the way, the other thing about this, first true road game of the season. Yeah, BYU's not played a true road game, and they kick off Big 12 play on the road. How's it going to look? It's on CBS. This is national television. This is over the air. Like, you don't have to have a cable box. You don't have to have a subscription. You can watch this game OTAs, they say, over the air. You have a little rabbit ears. You have an antenna in your house. You can pull this up on CBS, and it's a spectacle. Obviously, AJ Dybantsa, Richie Saunders, Rob Wright. And then on the other side, like I said, PJ Haggerty and the Kansas State Wildcats, who have been a relative surprise early on this season with their ability to score. This should make for a fun opener, but at the same time, it's dangerous for BYU. What if they struggle on the road? Because they've never played a true road game yet this year, and they've had a long layoff. Remember, BYU last played on December 22nd. Do I have to remind you guys it's January 2nd when BYU plays again? And I asked Kevin Young that question. He said, biggest thing I'm worried about, conditioning. And I get it, because guys get in kind of the mold of playing. And the nice part is, I guess, going forward after this is the schedule is pretty set. You play Tuesday or Wednesday, and you play Saturday. That's BYU's schedule for the next 3 months. But you've had a pretty long layoff here. And once again, true road game. How do you respond in that circumstance? Going up against a team that, like I said, playing on their home court is going to play faster than they would on the road. And what if you struggle to shoot? What if you struggle to slow down PJ Haggerty? Or what if one of these other players or Kansas State goes off in this game? How are you going to counter all of that? We're going to learn a lot about BYU in this game, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a big opportunity to kick off Big 12 play 1-0. And yet again, this is supposed to be the easy, I use air quotes, easy stretch for BYU in the Big 12, this first 4-game stretch. They're supposed to go 4-0 if you go by individual metrics across all 4 games, but I think it was Cougar Stats put it out there. If you combine all 4, the chances of BYU running that going 4-0 to kick off Big 12 play, 55.4%. So this shows just kind of the overall strength and the overall just kind of danger that Big 12 play poses for BYU. But BYU's not alone. They're ranked 10th in the country. There's Arizona over there who's ranked 1st in the country. The Big 12 is littered with ranked teams. Iowa State is number 3. We have Kansas who's 17, Houston at 8, Texas Tech 15. Like, this conference, man, it's going to absolutely test everybody's ability to really manage their own game and be able to play their own game, whether it's on the road or at home. But I do like the fact that BYU is getting this first road game out of their system, and they're doing it against one of the, like I said, relatively easier opponents on their schedule. Coming up, though, get ready, folks. It is going to be both super entertaining, but also like super nerve-wracking, because these games, they're going to be absolute knockdown, drag-out affairs. I look forward to it, but at the same time, it's going to fray Cougar fans' nerves when it comes to how some of these games are going to play out, at least in my mind, as they do play out on the court. So there you go. Once again, 11:30 a.m. tip on CBS tomorrow. If you want to watch that, obviously Greg Wrubell, Mark Duran will be on the call, and we'll do a postcast after it goes final. It may not be as long as our football postcast, but we'll do at least a recap talking about the action, because Big 12 play, this is when it gets real. This is when AJ Dybantsa and Richie and Rob Wright and Keba Keita and Kennard Davis Jr., this is the time to shine for BYU basketball, and you better believe we're going to have it covered top to bottom along the way. All right, that's going to do it for today's edition of the show. Enjoy the portal action, because it's just getting started, folks. It's absolutely off the rails to begin with, but we'll have plenty of coverage for you guys about that. We'll have plenty of basketball coverage, and as always, we'll have it for you guys every single day right here on Locked On Cougars. So as always, thank you for making Locked On Cougars your first listen today. Make your second listen today Locked On College Football. Get a full recap of the college football playoff games with our good friend Spencer McLaughlin. He's doing a great job. Check that out wherever you get your podcasts, also available on YouTube. And once again, make sure you join the Locked On Everydayer Club and get the inside scoop on all things BYU with everything we've got going on Discord and the like. And just a final reminder, come back tomorrow and be an everydayer right here on the Locked On Cougars podcast.